Yo, Hideyuki here. The Rebelling Rose, the Messenger Effects, the one born to be berserk, returning yet again with another great video. Today, we're going to be discussing the Visual K scene, the current state of Visual K and my thoughts about it. Um, I've got to say, I'm actually very impressed with uh, where Visual K is heading towards. I think there's a bright future for Visual K. Yes, I've been kind of disappointed with some of these modern bands trying to copy the J-pop, K-pop phenomenon. But at the same time, there has been some good bands rising up, right? We have Desert, we have Ash Maze, which is now Azavana. We have Garacho. I mean, we've got tons of great new bands. And it's beautiful to see that. It's beautiful to still see folks caring about this underground scene, at least in Japan. And yeah, it's great to see that. And on top of that, we have a lot of returning artists coming back. Desperate is finally off of hiatus for over a decade now. I'm like, holy shit. I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, they're back? The boys are back? That's what I like to see. Turn up. So, that kind of got me excited. Dawsane released a new single and they put out a compilation album that also included some new tracks. So that was great to see that. Great to see that Ricky and Joe duo again, right? Kirito, of course, is still active. I think Angelo had some reunion tours too, as well, uh, these past few years. But yeah, it's been nothing short of incredible. Uh, and that new album he made, man, oh my goodness, I've been on that. Great album, great new album. His solo stuff has been just pure art so far, to say the least. And then on top of that, we also have other artists like Hyde and Liark and CL still being active, of course. Hyde's been active in his solo career for a while now, so always good to see him putting in that work. Uh, which he doesn't have to. I mean, he's pretty much a superstar now, but still good to see him around. Gact returned finally. He's active again on the scene. He's touring again. Seems like his voice has been getting better. So that's good. That's very good. Um, but yeah, I've got to say, man. I mean, Visual K is always going to be underground, as a genre, as a movement. But as long as Visual K is more than just the music, more than just uh the costumes, the makeup, it's gonna stay alive. It's always gonna be niche. It's always gonna be underground. But there's always gonna be a fan base around it. There's always gonna be a fandom around it. People are always gonna still enjoy this music. And yeah, I've got to say, it's just great to see some of these older artists come back and newer bands still putting out some great stuff. That's not just the same old silly, pop garbage. And that's ironic, because Visual K has always adopted the pop mentality, the idol mentality. Um, but when it comes to the actual music, sometimes it's like, yeah, yeah, no, I'll take a straight pass on that. Not saying that you got to be doing loud K all the time. You got to be heavy metal and all that. Like, no, I'm not saying that. But sometimes when they try to copy, pop style music, it just fails in every single way, especially the modern bands. Back in the day, though, whenever you see some soft visual K, Shiro K bands, I mean, they knew how to do pop, man. Like, they really understood how to do that. Um, but yeah, I don't think visual K is ever going to be mainstream again, though. I think that's pretty obvious as it is. But that doesn't mean the scene can't thrive. That doesn't mean bands can't be active. That doesn't mean we still can't enjoy it. Um, you know, it's it's fine if it doesn't hit mainstream. To be honest, I prefer that it doesn't. you know. And of course, you had the whole TikTok phenomenon, which, yeah, I just like to pretend that that doesn't exist at all. Most of the fans that got onto it on TikTok, it's like, okay, great, you know about Visual K. Um, but a lot of them are just cringe as hell. They haven't been around long enough to really understand what the scene is truly about. And I'll guarantee you they don't have nothing for a collection either. Um, but being a new fan of anything, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time to really get into it, really understand what the scene is actually about, what the movement is about, and eventually collecting your own stuff. It's gonna take some time, right? So for the people that you know, I wouldn't say grew up on it, but discovered it through TikTok, is it really any different than the folks that discovered it through anime, discovered it through Toku? Um, I think there is a difference, but not that much. Not really that much. I think at the end of the day, if you're really passionate about visual K, you'll stick with it, right? Just like with anything else. When you actually stick by it, when you actually stand by it, that's when okay, that's a real fan. They actually care. Like they didn't just get into it for a little bit, or it was just some little phase, or oh, that was just cool. No, no, they stand by that. They actually stand for that. They're actually down for that, right? So it's beautiful to see, to be honest. But yeah, I would have never expected Visual K to still be thriving in this day and age, to be honest with you. Because we did have a lot of losses. We had so many great artists pass away, over the years. Aki, Heath, Bucktick's vocalist. I mean, goddamn, and so many others. But it's really nice to see some positivity, finally shining through because that's what we need. Honestly, that's what we need. But anyways, with that being said, those are my thoughts on the current state of Visual K. I think it's looking very bright. Um, and yeah, I'm just in it for the ride. I'm in for more to come. But anyways, yeah, you can hear the rebelling rose. And until next time, I'll see you.